Deepak Mohoni joins us right now with his sense of the charts. Deepak, a word on, before we talk about the markets, a word on EduComp that Sumit just spoke about. How do the charts look there?
Well, it made this very sharp move in the last 2 weeks after having fallen to practically its all-time low. So this is the first real move we are seeing in the stock of significance. Given the size of the move, it probably may sustain from here on. But today, of course, is a bit of a dip day. So I would at the moment classify the stock as fine for traders, but still a little dodgy for longer-term investors.
What about your stock recommendations, Deepak, for today?
Going once again with 3 buys. The market's cooling off, but I'll stick with these buys because the trend is up and demand should come back fairly at any dip. The buys are in Reliance Infra with a stop loss of 550 and a target of 582. ICICI Bank with a stop loss of 895, target 942. And the third is also an index stock, Sun Pharma, stop loss 627.5 and a target of 663.
Deepak, a few active stocks which are doing the rounds in today's session. One of them is GBK Power. The last few sessions, along with the other infra companies and power companies, has done okay. Couple of news bits today. It's above the 16 mark. You think it's got the legs to do further?
Good amount of momentum here. As you said, with all the infra stocks, there is nothing really separating one stock out from the other in this pack. We saw this in December as well. They all almost doubled. In fact, quite a few of them did double in barely a month and a half. Then we had a pretty severe reaction in most of them. So it's exactly the same story repeating itself again. I don't mean the doubling part, but momentum part. And at the moment, while the market's intermediate trend is up, you can get pretty good returns out of these. The long-term trend in these stocks, I think, may turn up if the market really starts crossing levels which we haven't seen for several months. Then these might be worth longer-term investing. But at the moment, again, classified as a good trader stock. Stick with short or medium terms.
Deepak, very quickly, what would be your call on a Bharti and an idea?
Idea only recently has bounced back from making a one-year low, so that's been quite weak. Bharti is sort of showing signs of bottoming out over here, but absolutely no momentum. I think the best one could say is that if somebody has got Bharti in the portfolio, hang on to it for the moment. It perhaps won't fall very much further from here.
Deepak, a couple of, in fact, what's the chart showing on a couple of these stocks? One is Adani Enterprises, 2 is Crompton Greaves.
Adani Enterprises has just started moving up after hitting a low a couple of weeks back. What was really interesting was yesterday's jump was on massive volume, something like perhaps 10 times the average daily volume. So maybe some interest coming in. But once again, this is a move that started off from a new low. So given that, not yet an invested stock, at best something for a trader.
Yeah, so that's a question. Would you trade in this? Would you buy it at 237.5?
Perhaps not, because there are other stocks in more well-established uptrends which would perhaps provide a lower downside risk. This stock with that kind of move could easily give back 3-4% in a downward reaction. So it's not a steady uptrend, the sort one would really look for while trading.
What about Crompton Greaves?
Crompton Greaves has been sort of flattish now for the last 5-6 weeks. It's been even flattish, you might say, for 5-6 months because it's been between 105, 110 on the downside, 170 on the upside. You might say the best case scenario is this is some sort of a nice long base formation, but it'll be months before it's really in a well-established uptrend. Not enough momentum for short-term traders, or maybe just a little bit. Not really a trader stock either, but they could get okay results with it on the long side only.
Okay, Deepak, we would leave it at that. Thanks so much for giving us your stock recommendations and, of course, a chart check on some of the active stocks in trade today.